Listen up. God will protect and deliver you. Question: do you really need a weapon when you have a relationship with God? Do you really need a weapon again when you have a relationship with God? Your enemies may surround you and it doesn't appear physically that you have no way out. Your enemies may throw you into the lion's den. Your enemies may have you between a rock and a hard place. Your enemies may have thrown you into a fiery furnace. Let me give you some examples of God protection and deliverance, and it apply to you too. One, your enemies may surround you and it doesn't appear to be any physical way out of it with the naked eye. As it is written in the book of 2 Kings chapter 6, 14 through 17, listen to this. So one night the king of Aram sent a great army with many chariots and horses to surround the city. Check it out, to surround the city where Elijah the prophet was at. When the servant of the man of God got up early the next morning and went outside, there were troops, horses, chariots everywhere. And this is what this servant did. He ran and told Elijah, this is Elijah's servant. Oh, sir, what will we do now? He was afraid. The young man cried to Elijah. Don't be afraid, Elijah told him, for there are more on our side than on theirs. Then Elijah prayed, oh Lord, open his eyes and let him see. So Elijah prayed to God to let his servant see what he didn't see. The Lord opened the young man's eyes, and when he looked up, he saw on the hillside around Elijah was filled with horses or chariots of fire. Number two, your enemy may have you thrown into the lion's den. Remember the story of Daniel being placed in the lion's den by his enemies that were jealous and envious of him, and how God delivered him out of the lion's den, and his enemies and their family was thrown in the lion's den and they were destroyed by the lions. But the angel of the Lord was sent by God to bound the lion's mouth, and Daniel was delivered. Number three, your enemies may have you between a rock and a hard place. Remember the story of Moses and the Israelites, how they were surrounded by two high mountains, one on the left and one on the right. The Red Sea was in front of them, and behind them was Pharaoh and his army. They felt like a rock, being between a rock and a hard place. But what did God do? God opened up the Red Sea through Moses, and the Israelites went down in the midst of the Red Sea, one side up this way and one side up this way, and they were traveling on dry land. They got to the other side, and Pharaoh's army trailed behind them to bring them back to Egypt. But what did the Lord do? He overthrew them in the middle of the sea, and the water came and engulfed them, and they drowned it. They was overthrown. God delivered them. Number four, your enemies may have to throw you or think they can throw you into a fiery furnace, as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were placed into a fiery furnace, but one that looked like the Son of God was in the fire with them, and they were delivered without being burnt because they believed in God through his Son, Jesus the Christ. What more can I say, my friends? Those of you that believe in God know that you're protected and you will be delivered. Now, the things that I just have told you, those are very strong examples of God protection and deliverance. And if he did it for them, guess what? He would do it for you and he would do it for me. As it is written in the book of Elijah, chapter 54, verse 17, and it reads, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. Remember this, believe this, say la vie, and amen.